I paused, my gaze flickering slightly around the room. The 3 roommates were all eating fried chicken while scrolling through their phones. Bringing food back from school was routine. The campus cafeteria's fried chicken was legendary, and many bought it daily. Based on just these 2 clues, it was likely nothing more than coincidence. I pressed further with the post's author. This doesn't prove your roommate's fishing for you. Maybe he's just kind-hearted. Are there other signs? The poster replied with a bashful emoji. I'm almost too embarrassed to say. He uses the same bottle of shower gel and shampoo as me, and he gave me a scarf and slippers he knitted himself. The onlookers reacted with disbelief. Sharing the same bottle of shower gel? That means you'd both smell the same? That's pretty intimate. There's definitely something going on with your roommate. Roommates are just roommates. They can't become spouses. If a roommate became a wife, wouldn't that turn you from sharing space into sharing a bed? Then it'd be more than living together. It'd be sleeping side by side. So roommates should only ever be spouses. Wait. No. I mean, spouses should only ever be roommates. I zoomed in on the photo of the scarf and slippers. A while back, I'd been hooked on crocheting and had made a handmade scarf and slippers for each of my 3 roommates, exactly matching the colors and style in the picture. My world felt like it had collapsed. Which roommate was it? Pretending to thank me as father figure while secretly posting online saying I was chasing him. We used the same bottle of shower gel because that was the only one we had bought for the dorm. The bathroom at school is already quite small, so with 4 of us sharing, we agreed to split the toiletries equally, just to avoid cluttering up more space. How does that even count as proof I was trying to manipulate him? Just because I suggested it? My eyes flickered sideways, searching the faces of my roommates, trying to figure out who might be imagining things. Someone with an overactive suspicion. Keith, who sleeps on the bed next to mine, is famously reserved and sharp-tongued across campus. Anyone who's ever tried to confess feelings to him has been met with cold dismissal. Even though he's strikingly handsome, almost camera-ready, he's still ranked number 1 for least likely to be in a relationship at the law school, year after year. Someone even dared ask him about it directly. He responded by sending them a legal notice. I shook my head quietly, mentally ruling him out. It just didn't add up. He couldn't be the one behind it. My gaze shifted carefully toward Noah, who sleeps across from me. He wears silver-rimmed glasses and carries himself with quiet refinement. But after spending time around him, you realize there's a sharper side beneath the surface. Someone who holds grudges. In literary terms, he'd be described as quietly calculating. It all started after Alexander swapped his glasses for a pair with no lenses during April Fool's Day. Later, during a presentation, Noah deliberately inserted a few humorous images of Alexander into his slideshow, like one showing him in pink Hello Kitty shorts trying to flex. Another with him dramatically opening his mouth wide, pretending to swallow a fist. Alexander's expression pack remains widely shared across the school's online forums to this day. I have no proof that Noah is the one who posted it, nor do I have any direct evidence to rule him out. For now, we'll hold judgment. As for Alexander, he's the most likely suspect. Though he constantly claims to be straight, he's deeply into BL anime without restraint. I seriously wonder if he's lost his mind. My gaze flickers between Alexander and Noah. I simply can't tell who did it. Suddenly, a hand appears before me, well-shaped and steady. Keith places a chocolate on my desk. Here, I glance at the brand, startled. I can't take this, it's too valuable. Even though I'm a chocolate lover, this one costs thousands per box. Keith speaks casually. It was a gift from my cousin's wedding last week. I don't even like chocolate much. If you won't take it, I'll just feed it to the stray dogs on campus. What kind of elaborate poisoning setup is this? Alexander and Noah laugh along. Mason, if you don't take it, you're practically letting the act go unpunished. A quiet warmth spread through me. I knew they were just teasing, trying to ease my mind so I could accept the chocolate without hesitation. Though curiosity burned inside me, I didn't let it take hold. My orientation had already been shared online by a former partner. I'd moved between dorms several times, each time leaving quickly after facing quiet isolation and exclusion. But here, my roommates have always treated me with respect. Never once did they say anything judgmental. They've even stepped in when others made fun of me. I didn't want to risk upsetting the balance we'd built over something so small, until I noticed how the post's tone had taken a strange turn. During PE class, I brought only one bottle of mineral water, shared with my roommate. In between sets, I pulled out my phone and checked the forum. A new post from someone I follow had just appeared. My roommate passed me his water bottle to drink. Does that count as a kind of indirect kiss? I nearly choked on the sip I'd taken. We shared it, but neither of us touched the mouthpiece. I couldn't see how this was even close to anything like that. The way the post described things made it easy for others to misread. So you're being slowly drawn in. I thought he was just daydreaming. Turns out, he might actually be serious. You're the frog in warm water. He's clearly trying to change your mind. This kind of tactic feels off. If you're straight, maybe step back. This guy has no sense of boundaries. Who knows what he'll try next? The poster replied to the comment saying their roommate was trying to change them. Change me? Is he serious about wanting to date me? I don't understand any of this. I really am straight. By the way, if he actually wanted to date me, we'd need to move out together. Does anyone know of a suitable place nearby? The tone of the comments shifted suddenly. Are you really being targeted by your roommate? I'm starting to wonder if it's more like you're eager to date him right now. No, man, your roommate hasn't said anything about liking you. Why are you even looking at apartments? I was the one who advised the poster to stay away from their roommate earlier, and now my main account got blocked by them. This person is definitely not straight. Maybe they're just imagining things. I pressed like on that last comment. A chill ran through me. The kind of person I thought was only in stories. It's right here, near me. Who could it be? I screamed silently inside my head. After gym class ended, it was my turn to help Alexander organize the rackets and return them to storage. Of all the people in the world, it had to be him. Just as I ran into Jason, the former roommate who used to bully me. His gaze was sharp with ill intent, scanning both Alexander and me. Don't you know Mason is gay? How can anyone live in the same room with him without feeling disgusted? Don't you worry he might be thinking about you? I've grown used to this kind of harsh talk. I tried fighting back, reported it too, but the outcome was always nothing serious. Sometimes people even said, you should keep quiet about this. Bringing it up only makes things worse for you. I kept my composure, letting the words pass like wind through the trees. Alexander, though, frowned and stepped in sharply. Stop projecting your own issues. Maybe you should look in a mirror more often. Think gay men would even notice someone like you? Jason turned red with anger, shouting that Alexander would regret it. Alexander sneered. I know I'm good looking. No need for you to remind me. I bit my tongue to keep from laughing, pulling Alexander away. He was barely holding back. He could have made Jason furious with one more word. Feeling humiliated in front of others, Jason blocked our way. Tall and built, his frame solid with muscle. If it came to a fight, both Alexander and I wouldn't stand a chance against him alone. Thankfully, Keith arrived just in time. He stepped forward with a swift hold, stopping Jason before he could throw a punch. Keith didn't hesitate. Each strike landed hard on Jason's face. His voice was cold and sharp. My roommate is not someone you can just hit. If it hadn't been for Alexander and me holding him back, he might have ended up sending Jason to the hospital. I felt deeply moved by my roommate's loyalty, so I treated them to dinner. I raised a can of cola in toast toward them. Because of the challenges I've faced with my identity, I've been through a lot of judgment and mistreatment. Thank you for standing up for me today. Thank you for always seeing me without bias. I hope we four stay close brothers for the rest of our lives. We clinked our drinks together. Noah spoke with quiet regret. It's a shame I wasn't there to witness it. Stealing their thanks like this, I can't help but feel a little uneasy. Alexander gritted his teeth. Always with your camera, snapping random shots. But you weren't there for my moment. Do you have any idea how powerful that strike felt? Keith scoffed coldly. If I hadn't arrived in time, would your small frame even survive a single punch from him? Charging ahead when you couldn't defend yourself nearly got both Mason and you hurt. Alexander insisted on showing off his skill, practicing military drills the entire way back to our room. After washing up that night, I lay in bed scrolling through my phone. I came across a new post again. My roommate said he wants to stay with me forever. What should I do? The faint warmth of alcohol vanished instantly from my mind. My hands trembled as I tapped the post open. Today my roommate was bullied, and I stepped in to protect him. He looked at me with such admiration, and when he treated me to dinner, said he wanted to stay by my side forever. Should I accept his feelings? He's very fair-skinned, gentle-looking, kind-hearted. But he's a man, and I'm straight. By the way, which country should I go to for a same-sex marriage license? Seeking a detailed guide. Paid if needed. The community had long grown used to this poster's usual tone. So sweet. I'm fully invested in this couple. I feel like they'll end up together one day. Be careful about getting too attached. This poster seems to be living in a fantasy, not just seems. He truly is suffering from delusions. The situation is clear enough now. I stared at Alexander, who was still grinning into his phone with a blank expression. Never would have guessed. A bright and cheerful young man. How did he become someone lost in fantasy? The post is still being updated. If my roommate confessed to me, I think I might say yes. Can a gay person accept a platonic relationship with a straight man? I was so worried I barely slept for nights on end, afraid that if I closed my eyes, Alexander might sneak into my bed. But fate seemed determined to test me anyway. The sun shone brightly at noon. I took the blanket out to dry, then, during class in the afternoon, poured with rain, leaving my blanket soaked through. Alexander flashed me a sharp grin. What's the big deal, Mason? We can share a few nights together. I'll be fine, and it'll clear up in a couple of days. It'll dry out soon enough. I shook my head hastily. All I wanted was to put distance between myself and him. After hesitating, I turned to Keith for help. Keith, can I stay with you for a few days? I don't snore at all, and I won't move around in my sleep. Please. Keith hesitated a moment, then gave a quiet nod. I understood what that meant. Keith was a wealthy young man. Probably never slept with anyone so close before, not even on the narrow 1-meter bed at school. But Noah's bed was next to Alexander's. Too risky. There was no other choice. I swallowed my pride and squeezed onto Keith's bed, pressing myself against the wall, taking up as little space as possible. For nights on end, I'd lie awake, afraid of Alexander sneaking over. Didn't sleep well at all. But now, with Keith beside me, my mind finally settled. I drifted off quickly. In a daze, I instinctively moved closer to the warmth nearby. The next morning, I woke up. I was nearly lying on top of Keith. My face burned as I scrambled back against the wall, afraid he'd wake and notice, too embarrassed to think. I instinctively checked my phone as usual. The post I follow had posted a new update. This time, the title was a long string of exclamation marks. Clicking through revealed nothing but endless repetitions. After scrolling 2 pages, the post finally started making sense. Urgent. My roommate's blanket got soaked in the rain. What does it mean when he insists on sleeping in my bed? He fell asleep. Is he annoyed I'm too slow? But even while asleep, he kept leaning toward me. He really cares about me. My roommate has made his feelings so clear. No more waiting. Tomorrow morning, I'll tell him I'm ready to be with him. I felt struck by lightning. The words were familiar, yet their meaning failed to register in my mind. Wasn't I sleeping beside Keith last night? Could it be the strange poster was Keith? I hadn't even recovered from the shock. Suddenly, Keith murmured softly in my ear, "Good morning," his voice rough and low. His face flushed red like boiled shrimp. Then he pressed a light kiss to my forehead, his smile shy but warm. "Sorry, I know you prefer bold expressions of feeling, but I still want to take it slow." I stared at him, frozen, unsure how to respond. Keith got up, brushed his teeth, and left to buy breakfast. When I woke up, the toothpaste had already been squeezed onto my brush. He kept looking at me with a quiet smile, his ears flushed. I tried several times to speak openly, but never found the right moment. It wasn't until he was called out by a friend that the heavy silence lifted. Just before leaving, he leaned in and brushed his lips lightly against my nose. I felt a sudden shiver run through me. My heartbeat pounded like distant drums. Keith whispered, "What do you feel like having for dinner?" "I'll bring something back when I get home." My throat felt dry. "Whatever's fine," I said. "Whatever you choose." After Keith disappeared through the door, I buried my face in the blankets and let out a muffled cry. My voice nearly cracked. I was utterly flustered, at a loss, completely unsure of what to do next. In the moment, I posted a thread online. "My roommate always thinks I'm fishing for attention. What should I do? I'm gay. My roommate is like a Schrodinger's straight man. He insists I'm trying to hook him, even believes he's winning my affection through his own efforts. He thinks every small gesture means something. Now he actually acts like we're already together. How can I keep our friendship intact without making it awkward?" A wave of comments quickly flooded in beneath the post. That familiar storyline. You wouldn't happen to be the roommate of the guy from the adjacent fantasy thread, would you? What should you do? Do what feels right, short and simple. I think you need to take a real look at your own feelings. Are you truly interested in your roommate? If he's the one from that other post, even though he's a bit odd, it's clear he cares about you. If you feel the same, go ahead and move forward together. If not, cut through the confusion without hesitation. The replies kept piling up. Advice started to converge. If you don't feel anything, say so right away. If you do care, then be together. Do you? I'm a little lost too, because this kind of friendship is rare and precious. I've always been careful to keep my distance, never wanting to make any of these guys feel even slightly uncomfortable. I thought I was doing well, but ever since I found out Keith has feelings for me, why won't this constant heartbeat stop? The post was quickly climbing toward the top of the feed. I rushed to delete it. That night, Alexander and Noah messaged in the group chat, saying they were going to another city for a concert and wouldn't be back, which meant only me and Keith would be left in the dorm. My palms started to sweat. Just then, Keith walked in, holding a takeout box, the one with my favorite beef rice. I still hadn't figured out how to talk to him. It's too late to turn back now. Let's just eat first. We'll talk while we eat, and then it's time for bed. After I finish my shower, Keith stares at me with quiet confusion. You usually just wrap a robe after a shower. Why are you already in your pajamas? I give him a look that says it all. Just being careful, man. I say casually, brushing it off. It's freezing in here. I don't want to catch a cold. Oh, by the way, Alexander said he won't be back tonight. He told me I could sleep in his bed. And honestly, I was worried about bumping into you, so I'll stay elsewhere tonight. Keith's expression softens slightly. I pretend not to notice. As I'm about to climb the ladder to bed, he gently wraps his arms around me from behind. His voice is low and quiet. I don't mind being close. You're my partner, after all. My heart nearly stops. My breath catches in my throat. My mind races, trying to find the right words to say. My throat felt tight, as if something were blocking it, leaving me unable to speak. I could only stiffen, letting Keith hold me without resistance. Gradually, his breath brushed against the back of my neck. A shiver ran from the crown of my head to the soles of my feet. This was too much, man. I pretended to be utterly exhausted, climbing into bed and pulling the covers over my face. My eyes are already struggling to stay open. Good night. To make it convincing, I even let out soft little snores 10 minutes later. Keith turned off the light and climbed into bed. The room fell completely dark. From that moment on, I quietly accepted the reality of my relationship with Keith. He was like a large dog who needed constant closeness, still clinging to me even after my blanket had dried completely. Worried Alexander and Noah might notice, I kept my face expressionless and refused him coldly. Late at night, he'd quietly slip into my bed, then return to his own before dawn. I found myself sinking into the quiet warmth of being in love, almost dizzy with it, until Robert showed up unexpectedly. I just exchanged messages with Keith, arranging to meet for dinner that evening. The smile still lingering on my lips vanished the moment I saw Robert blocking my path. My expression turned cold instantly. I tried to pretend I hadn't seen him, stepping past as if nothing had happened. He reached out and blocked my path. Mason, we've been through a lot together. This coldness isn't fair. Let's talk somewhere quiet. I said flatly, there's nothing to discuss with you. He pulled out his phone and showed me a few photos. It was a shot of Keith's back and profile, familiar enough for anyone who knew him to recognize the shape of his head, the curve of his shoulders. I felt my breath catch. My hands went cold. Robert's smile was sharp and hollow. Now, will you talk to me? We ended up at a quiet cafe tucked away from the street. Sitting in a corner, I kept my voice low, tense. So you took pictures. What now? Don't you know threatening someone is against the law? Robert shrugged. I'm not asking for money. How could that be blackmail? Robert shrugged. I'm not asking for money from you, so how can this be blackmail? Mason, don't assume the worst about me. You blocked all my contacts, and when I tried to reach out, you never responded. I had no other way to get you to sit down and talk. I was wrong before. I shared your truth not to hurt you, but to keep you close, even if I used the wrong approach. Mason, don't assume the worst of me. You blocked all my contacts. I tried reaching you, but you never answered. I had no choice but to make sure you'd sit down and listen. I was wrong before. I shared your truth not to hurt you, but because I wanted to keep us together. I chose the wrong way. The words made me feel sick. Robert was a student at a large art college where openness about identity wasn't unusual. His background had never forced him to hide, but I'd been bullied in high school for being different, and I didn't want my past dragged into the light again. But I was bullied in high school because of my identity, and I never wanted my private life exposed. After I found out about Robert's betrayal, I immediately asked him to end the relationship. He threatened to expose my identity unless I stayed with him. He knew that was a wound I'd never fully healed from, yet he still chose to reopen it. I've come to terms with who I am, but I don't want Keith to go through the same pain of being judged for something so personal. Robert noticed my hesitation and struck straight at the core of it. You're not afraid anymore, but is your boyfriend really okay with it? He pulled up Keith's post and a screenshot from when I'd posted asking for advice. I know your forum profile. Your new partner is your roommate, right? He says he's straight. Maybe even now you've changed him, but once the novelty fades, do you really think he'll still care? Mason, people like us are better off with those who understand. I'm only warning you because I don't want to see you get hurt. Give yourself 3 days to decide. End it with your roommate and come back to me. Otherwise, I'll post everything about your relationship on the forum. My mind was a storm. I forgot our dinner plans with Keith. Back in the dorm, I stayed restless and withdrawn. That night, Keith tried to join me in my bed. I gently asked him to go back. I need to sleep alone tonight. Keith's expression fell, quiet and hurt. He returned to his own bed without a word. Later, as I lay under the covers scrolling through my phone, I saw another post he'd made. It's only been 7 days, 8 hours, and 35 minutes. My boyfriend already seems distant. What should I do? He's always been kind, never raised his voice. Today he was cold, distant. My heart felt like it was breaking. Online strangers fed on the drama, saying things that made him wish he could disappear. Don't overthink it. Maybe someone else caught his attention. It's normal. Passion doesn't vanish. It just shifts elsewhere. But don't assume the worst. He might simply no longer feel anything for you. Love comes fast, and it goes just as quickly. Keith lost control, starting to delete comments. Watching the top replies vanish one by one. The weight in my chest finally eased. I sent a message to the wounded little dog. Come over here. The post updated on screen. My boyfriend wants me to sleep in his bed. Robert had been watching the thread closely. He knew perfectly well that my connection with Keith remained warm and steady. His face darkened, blocking me again. Mason, are you really ready to destroy everything? I'm giving you one last chance. Do what I say, or else His voice cut off abruptly. I showed him the photo in my hand. It was a picture of him and his art school instructor, taken long ago. I stared at Robert's face as fear settled over it. Robert, this photo has been in my phone since we broke up. I haven't used it to threaten you because I don't stoop to such tactics. But if you push me too far, I won't hesitate to fight back. Either way, the one getting expelled won't be me. Robert changed his tone. He grabbed my arm and tried to force me to kneel. Mason, just delete it. If this gets out, my future is ruined. I gave a cold laugh. Do you really think I'm that naive? Even if I deleted it now, would you leave me alone? Leave me be, and we'll go our separate ways. I'll delete the photo myself when graduation comes. Every word was true, but Robert was petty, judging others by his own standards. He didn't threaten me behind my back, though. Instead, he made a public effort to reach out. He arranged roses into the shape of a heart on the field, sang songs at my dorm entrance with his guitar. He was trying to make me feel uneasy or soften, hoping I'd agree to delete the photo in exchange for peace. His actions drew a lot of attention. Naturally, it reached Keith's ears. I was still in my elective class when I heard that Keith had sent Robert to the hospital. A female classmate slipped me a message during break. Mason, you and Keith are together now. My heart skipped. My face stayed calm, hiding the unease beneath. Who told you that rumor? A classmate sent me a video to watch. Keith said it himself. He went to the art school studio and confronted Robert, telling him to stay away from you. Robert's at the hospital now. Keith's bound to face disciplinary action. I skipped class straight for the hospital. Hospital hallway. Alexander and Noah were by Keith's side, his hand wrapped in gauze. I rushed over and gently held his hand. What happened? Did you break a finger? Keith looked uneasy. I lost control during the fight. My fist hit the floor too hard, scraped my skin. I reached up and brushed a strand of hair from his forehead. Voice soft. Wait here for me, okay? I'll speak to Robert briefly. He held on to my hand tightly, I searching, almost pleading. I gently but firmly pulled free and walked toward Robert's room. Robert's face was bruised, one front tooth missing. He looked up as I entered, eyes instantly welling. Mason! Look what Keith did to me. I'll report him. I'll make sure he's expelled. I listened quietly as he ranted, waiting until his voice steadied before offering a deal. If you drop the charges against Keith, I'll delete the photo. What do you say? Robert froze slightly, his voice tight with emotion. After what Keith did to me, your first words aren't concern. They're defending him. Do you really think I'm chasing you just to get those photos deleted? I actually still care about you. I want to rebuild things. I narrowed my eyes. Hearing Robert say he cared made my stomach twist. If you won't accept reconciliation, your consequences will be far heavier than Keith's. I turned and left the room. Robert called out after me, his tone clipped. Fine. I won't press charges. Delete the photos in front of me. I waved him off. I'll delete them myself. Once you've fully healed. I stepped out of the room. I spotted Keith crouched nearby, eavesdropping. He grinned widely. If he had a tail, it'd be spinning like a propeller. I ruffled his hair. My tone was exasperated, but my eyes couldn't help crinkling at the corners. Come on, troublemaker. Back to the dorm. The first thing I did was open the forum. The most popular post was about me and Keith. As someone who knew all the details, I didn't want to relive my own story again, so I went straight to the follower list. Sure enough, Keith had posted something new. My boyfriend loves me too much. What do? His ex-boyfriend keeps bothering him like a persistent fly. I went to confront him. When my boyfriend arrived, his first move was making the ex give up any claim against me. No concern at all for how the other guy felt. He only sees me in everything he does. Keith, you idiot. What happened with Robert today made a huge scene, and posting this now was like handing over his identity. The comments below were full of coded signals. Could the post author really be that sarcastic guy from law school? After reading all the posts, I'm completely obsessed. Who voted for sarcastic guy as the least relationship-ready man in law school? If you're not in love, you should be. Keith was still trying to hide. I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm definitely not Keith. Also, how do I make my boyfriend calm down when he's upset? Watching him still hold his phone made me nervous. He might write something else. I walked over and took his phone. Your hands are injured. Why play with that now? Keith held me close, his arms wrapped tightly around my waist. I still carried a quiet anger inside and didn't respond to him. I grabbed some clothes and went to the bathroom to shower. I didn't let it weigh on my mind. Love means letting go of small things. Holding on to every detail wears down what matters. I quietly turned the page in my heart. I gave myself fully to our relationship and to building a new life. Even after I removed Robert's photo, the truth about him and his advisor still came out. The advisor was let go, and Robert was expelled. Our relationship wasn't met with any unusual glances. In fact, my roommate even started playing games at a cafe booth to give us more space. I didn't want to disrupt their lives, so I talked with Keith about renting an apartment outside. He shyly handed over the keys. We've already found a place on our first day together. That night, we carried our suitcases into our new home. When I opened the door, warm yellow light spilled out. On the living room sofa was a plaid blanket I liked. Potted succulents lined the balcony, and even the toothbrushes on the sink were paired up. Keith rubbed his head and smiled. I didn't get to ask about your preferences. I just guessed. I laughed and leaned into him, my nose catching the scent of laundry detergent and sunlight. 3 years passed in a blink. On a quiet Saturday afternoon, we hung our wedding photo on the wall where it stood out most. The two of us smiled with bright eyes, faces full of simple joy.